Boom. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. So today, we're going to be looking at a very, very interesting one this afternoon. This one comes from River North Brewery out of Denver, Colorado. And this one is definitely special because it's the end of the week, and I decided that why not end it with one with the highest ABV beer that I think I've ever tried. So today we're looking at the barrel-aged double Avarice. They're 19.5% barrel-aged Imperial Stout. So I don't know what to expect with this guy. This guy is definitely going to be boozy for sure. I'm hoping that maybe it's going to be really syrupy, kind of have a lot of the oaky, whiskey, bourbony kind of flavors coming through. Definitely maybe have a little bit of like deeper notes with like chocolate or maybe dark fruit notes coming through. But I have no idea what to expect when it comes to booziness when it comes to this one, because I've had some higher ABV beers before, but nothing to where it's almost a 20% beer. That's for damn sure. So I'm excited to give this guy a try. Of course, it's definitely be a sipper. No, Lee, I'm not boofing it. Thanks for trying. But I'm excited. I'm definitely really, really excited to try this guy because I'm trying to remember if I've had anything else from River North. I think I have. I think I've had a couple other IPAs, but I don't remember if I've ever had any stouts from these guys. So I would love to see what they try to do with their stouts, maybe playing around with different yeast cultures, all that kind of stuff, making their beers taste unique and all that and everything like that. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see what this thing's all about. Of course, since Lee's here, I can't help but use my little cock and balls bottle opener that has definitely seen some use. Obviously, you can see the little bend in it already. So let's crack this guy open and see what this thing's like on the nose. Come on. There we go. Let's drop the cap on the ground. Don't mind me. Let's see what this smells like. Oh yeah, has like a sweetness to it. Definitely boozy for sure. Definitely has like almost like a dark fruit sweetness coming through as well. But definitely like a little bit of a chocolate note, maybe like chocolatey, raisiny, boozy. Yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. I'm not expecting... This is definitely going to pour heavy. That's what I'm saying. This is definitely going to be a high-gravity beer and all that kind of thing. So not expecting a lot of effervescence to it. It's going to be syrupy, dark, and thick. So let's see how this guy pours. Of course, actually, since it's 311 day, I'm going to be drinking out of my beautiful Disaster little tulip glass. Of course, 311's on there. So let's pour this guy and see what this thing's all about. Oh, yeah, this is a dark one. Literally almost no carbonation to it whatsoever. A little bit of bubbles here and there. But this is definitely a very, very dark beer. Just look at that dark. A little bit of, not really much head. A little bit of fizziness coming up the top. But yeah, getting oakiness, getting a sweetness from like maybe a little bit of dark fruit notes. Chocolatey. Oh, this smells absolutely fantastic. So without further ado, let's give this guy a try. So cheers, everybody. Happy Friday. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Strong. Definitely really strong. But it's not too strong. Definitely leaves that warmthness you expect. A lot of notes of chocolate. Definitely getting almost like some similar coffee notes. Definitely getting a little bit of like a raisiny, almost dark fruit note to it. But at the end, you get like the lingering flavor that you get at the end is a very, very deep, almost mixed, semi-sweet, chocolatey kind of flavor. Definitely getting the oakiness. Definitely get like a woodsy kind of feel to it. The booziness, I can still feel a good warmth on my throat. So overall, yeah, this thing is insanely smooth for a 19.5%. I am very, very surprised. It's definitely going to hit you in the back of the fucking head with booziness, but for how boozy it is, the amount of smoothness that you get from it, it just doesn't taste like straight bourbon. You're getting all those different notes that you want to get out of a nice Imperial Stout when it comes to, like, if it's a barrel-aged stout. You want to get the oakiness. You want to get the woodsy kind of flavor. You want to get that little bit of a bourbon note coming through as well, because if it's sitting in bourbon barrels, you want to taste the bourbon, just because what's the point of it sitting in the barrels if you're not going to try to enhance the flavors and give some of the flavors that those barrels bring out into the beer? And I think they did an absolutely fantastic job with this one. I'm super impressed with how well this aged, because I believe it says that they aged in those barrels for at least a year. So 12 months sitting in the barrels, getting all those bourbony flavors in there, and this has definitely helped raising the ABV as well. But this is an absolutely fantastic Imperial Stout. Absolutely fantastic. Definitely a sipper, though. This is definitely not something you want to go through and just start drinking, no, because you're going to be in a lot of trouble real quick, especially just after one of these. So, yeah, up front, now that and tastes a little more upfront. Is just like almost like a bitter chocolate. There's definitely an upfront bitterness that may catch some people off guard, but how it mellows out and get those kind of raisiny, chocolatey flavors along with like the oaky woodsiness to it. That's what makes it so balanced. And I think River North did an absolutely fantastic job with this one. I am super impressed with how good this thing is. So let's look here on Untapped, and of course Untapped always shows similar beers to whatever you want to look up on their website and their app and all that kind of stuff. So let's see if we can find one that would actually be similar to this one, which is going to be difficult because you're definitely not going to get as much booziness to this and all that kind of stuff. So let's see if any of these similar beers have like a higher ABV to where they'd be kind of similar like this. So of course we have a couple ones here from ones that are like blanket breweries that always show up when it comes to similar beers for some stuff. We got a couple from the Answer. We got one from the Brewery. We got one here from Pulpit Rock Brewing Company and then Marteau Brewing Company. So let's see what we got here. We got the Chuong 50th, which is a 16.5. So it's like a 50th birthday anniversary kind of beer for somebody. So thick stout, used with weasel coffee. So that's definitely be more coffee-like. So I wouldn't really consider this one, even though you might get the same amount of booziness. Let's see, this one from the Brewery is an 18.9% called Black Tuesday Skulls Tavern Barrel Secret, which it's saying it's exceptionally smooth. Let's see, balancing notes of vanilla and butterscotch, warming, pleasant palate. Let's see, sweet oak flavor. Yeah, this one is... See, that's interesting that they use specific kind of barrels because they're saying on this one it brings like light grapey notes to it. So actually... Okay, so yeah, the Brewery is one that I actually have one of the beers from these guys. So I have their Black Tuesday. I think it's a different kind of Black Tuesday, but I'm not sure if this is exactly the one that I have. I don't think it is, but I definitely have one of their Black Tuesdays, which the Brewery is actually located in, was it Pasadena, California? I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but this one might be a similar one because I know there's a couple from the Brewery that have some very higher ABV barrel-aged stouts. They play around with using like wine barrels in their stouts, which is a very, very interesting kind of thing. And let's see, look at this one from Marteau Brewing Company. It's a 14% barrel-aged stout, aged in rum barrels. So I don't know if this would maybe get similar notes to this, but it's not going to be as boozy. Then this one from Pulpit Rock Brewing Company called Scraps, which is a 13%. Made with cinnamon, coconut, and walnut in the barrel-aged kind of situation. Not really sure you're going to get similar notes with that one. But let's see what this last one is from the Answer. This is a 14.5 Imperial Stout, bourbon barrel-aged for 14 months. Getting notes of like Swiss chocolate and almond and coffee and toasted coconut. Maybe similar to that one. It's not going to be as boozy, but the two that I'm thinking of that might be the most similar is definitely going to be this Black Tuesday from the Brewery, along with maybe the Smooth Ambler from the Answer. So my biggest recommendation, I know the Brewery definitely has some availability when it comes to those higher end beers that people like to get their hands on. So maybe if you can get your hands on anything from their Black Tuesdays, I think you may really, really enjoy this one, because having such a high ABV beer like this, you really don't know what you're going to expect, because sometimes it may be too boozy, sometimes the oakiness may be too overpowering, but with this one, everything is balanced so well when it comes to the woodsiness, the bourbon flavors, the chocolate notes, getting that little bit of like a dark fruit note, like a raisin. That's why I'm thinking that Black Tuesday one will be a very similar one, just because having that grapey kind of note might kind of imitate that kind of raisiny kind of flavor. But overall, this beer is absolutely fantastic. I am super impressed with how smooth this thing and how well the flavors kind of are very, very balanced with this one. So let's look here again on Untapped, and let's see what we can get for ratings and see what they show as a description for this guy. So like I said, it's a 19.5% ABV, guys. So this isn't for the faint of heart. This is definitely not for your beginning kind of stout. If you have to be a kind of somebody who knows what you're going to get yourself into when it comes to barrel-aged stouts and all that kind of stuff, because you're going to get a lot of upfront booziness with it being a 19.5%. And with over 346 ratings on this guy, this has an average rating of 4.32 out of 5, which is a phenomenal rating. Definitely, I would say an average rating is almost a 4 and above for whoever kind of drinks this. So that is a really, really good rating, and you can tell this is definitely for those people who love barrel-aged kind of beers. And looking at the description, Untapped shows on this one, it says Colorado Whiskey Barrel-Aged Imperial Stout fermented with French Saison yeast, aged in barrels for over a year, chocolate, wood, oak notes. So definitely get those chocolate notes. The wood and the oakiness are kind of being there hand in hand with each other. Maybe the woodsiness is definitely going to be... Because I'm trying to describe a woodsy note compared to like an oaky note. They're kind of similar in a way to where how your palate kind of gets them. It's definitely something that kind of adds a smokiness. Maybe the oak notes might have that kind of charred smokiness in it, but not really too much smokiness. The upfront bitterness is really, really nice. That might be coming from those charred notes, but you're not getting those like kind of burnt kind of flavors. Only you're just maybe getting the bitterness that like a charred kind of wood would be adding into something. But overall, that like ending of like nice, deep, semi-sweet chocolate almost that just kind of makes a nice sweetness, that dark kind of like raisiny flavor that kind of lingers on the tongue at the end, I think is phenomenal with this one. So let's look and see if anybody on my friends list checked this one in. I don't think anybody did, but let's look and see what the global ratings are on this guy. So this guy gave it a 4.25, saying, "Wowza, gigantic sipper, deserves a different approach than a beer." Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one. Let's see, this guy purchased it off Tavour, which is how I got mine, and he gave it a 4 out of 5. Let's see, this guy gave it a 4.5, saying warming, boozy stout, which 100% agree. Let's see, another 4.5, saying very smooth and a great mouthfeel. 100% agree with that one as well. Like I said, this is one of the smoothest beers I think I've ever had, with it being as high as an ABV as it has. And the mouth feels syrupy. It's not really has any effervescence to it at all. It's heavy. It's like syrupy when it comes to coating the mouth. You got that all those lingering flavors that stick around for a long, long time when it comes to drinking this one. Like I haven't taken a sip in a minute or two, and I'm still getting those very strong lingering flavors just sitting on the mouth. So what else do we got here? Another 4.5. We got another 4.5 here. Purchased off Tavour, saying probably not a Monday night beer, but fuck it. Here's to George. So this guy was maybe celebrating a birthday or a friend of his, but he decided to have a nice kind of high ABV stout on a Monday. So that's a nice way to start the week. And then we got a 4.25 here, purchased on Tavour. So yeah, a lot of really, really good high ratings on this one. I don't see a lot of locations to where they check this one in anywhere else. A lot of the purchases I'm looking at were off Tavour, which I know they got their hands on this one. They got a select bottles when it comes to getting this available on Tavour's app, and those things sold out really, really quick. I know I was able to get my hands on 2 bottles, and they were relatively cheap, which surprises me. I think we only spent like not even $20 a bottle for a 19.5% beer. So being able to get our hands on 2 of those and still seeing people buy it after that. So, I think on the bottle here it actually shows, okay, so it was their vintage 2021 release number 3, and cases bottled was 150 cases. So not really a high availability with this one. And of course, I really like the labeling on here because underneath that it says, "What have we done?" So they know they're kind of ashamed of it, but they still love that they did it anyways. So with all that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings on this guy. Ian, what'd you say? Let's see. Totally not a fan of smoke being in my beer. Barbecue nuts, cheese all day, not beer. So with kind of like having smokiness in beer, Ian, a lot of things that I experience when it comes to a little bit of smokiness, of course, it kind of, maybe it's like a smoked Bock or something like that, to where Bocks are normally have a nice sweetness, to where you want a smokiness in there to kind of mellow out the sweetness from a Bock or something like that. Having those more of those breadier fruit notes get mellowed out by a little bit of a smokiness. Of course, if you're using something that's barrel aged, you're going to kind of get a little bit of a smokiness, because when you're aging whiskey or bourbon, the inside of the barrels are charred. They take a torch to them, so the inside are charred, so that helps bring color and also flavor to the bourbon or whiskey. So you may get some of those similar charred flavors come in your beer, but when it comes to like all those other flavors and kind of creating like a predominant smokiness, you really don't see it that often, in my opinion, to where the smokiness is maybe something you get off the bat with a barrel-aged stout. I haven't really seen a lot of barrel-aged stouts to where there is an upfront smokiness, because I think it may add a little bit of bitterness, but of course the bourbon flavors kind of enhance those like natural like chocolate flavors, along with maybe a little bit of like the dark fruit notes that you would get from this kind of beer itself. So the smokiness may just be adding that little bit of like charred bitterness to it instead of just having like a liquid smoke flavor in your beer. But when it comes to, I know there's a couple other styles of beers that I've made / had to where there is a predominant smokiness, but it works really well, especially like in something like a Scotch ale as well. So I think smokiness in a Scotch ale is something that I can go with, but I don't know if I'm 100% with it when it comes to like a barrel-aged stout, just because I want to taste maybe notes of coffee, chocolate, dark fruit, and all that kind of stuff. So back to, let's figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings on our end here. Got a little off track there, but that's okay. Can art. Well, bottle art in this case. Let me pour the rest of it in the glass because there's not much left. And, of course, this one really doesn't have too much detail to it because, of course, the limited release, I really like that kind of like almost demonish kind of eye on there. And I think what's really cool is on the center of the eye, if you look closely, it's River North's kind of logo on there. So it's just your double Avarice is staring at you, telling you they want you to drink it. And I think it still has the kind of characteristics of being like a little bit evil, a little bit dark to it, just because you have a red eye and all that stuff, like a demon watching you. So having it being all black, having those silver kind of outlines on there, I think it's a really, really clean and still kind of has that classy kind of label that still appeals to a lot of detailed, like more morbid can art that I'm into. So when it comes to this bottle art, yeah, I'm a fan because, let's see, it says everything you want in there. It's stout aged in whiskey barrels. I like that they put the what have we done because they feel like they made a mistake drinking it. I like the eye. I love just the plain simplicity from it, even though you guys know that I like a lot of detail in my bottle / can art. So overall, I'm going to give this a solid 4.25 out of 5 for bottle art for me. I like it. This is definitely something that would catch my attention just for that like red eye on there. So, yeah, 100% agree with you, Ian. So, with that being said, I don't know if I would ever like see this at River North being available in a flight, just because I feel like this is something that they had it casked in the barrels and then they go straight to bottling it, because that's what we did when we barrel aged our beer. So when it came to having this available for flights, we did maybe keg 1 or 2 kegs out of when we barrel aged something. So they may have done it as well to have it available in flights. But if they did at River North, if I had this in a flight, would I get another one? Absolutely. This would definitely have a situation where I would be needing a designated driver for this, because if I got an actual glass of this, they'd probably only serve you maybe a 5-ounce glass, to be honest, 5 to 6 ounce glass, because they're not going to be giving you a full like 12 or 8 ounce with this one, because that's going to be a liability towards the brewery, because with it being such a high percentage, you won't be able to get anything above maybe your normal kind of size of a flight glass, to be honest. But with that being said, if I was able to get their normal size, whatever they call it, if their normal size pour, I would 100% get another one of these for sure. This would be one that I would try to take a bottle home and see if, because my dad's already cellaring his a little bit more, even though it's been aging more than a year in barrels. He's cellaring it in our garage, kind of keeping it in a cooler, kind of darker environment to see if the flavors enhance a little bit more. So we'll find out within however long he wants to continue aging it to see if it kind of has more depth to it and has more kind of deepness to those deep, dark, stouty flavors that it already has. So with all that being said, what is my final rating on this guy going to be? Like I said, I think it's an absolutely phenomenal beer. Phenomenal. If you're a fan of like barrel-aged stouts and you want to try to get your hands on something that has a little bit more of a higher ABV, plus has a really, really good amount of smoothness, this barrel-aged double Avarice is going to be right up your alley. Like I said, this is not for the faint of hearted. When it comes to, if you're a fan of barrel-aged beers, this is definitely something to put on your list of things you need to try, just because it's that good. It's that balanced. All the flavors kind of are very, very cohesive in it. It just works out really, really well. So they did a fantastic job with this one for sure. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. I'm just still flabbergasted on how good this beer is and how smooth it is. But other than that, yeah, that is what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and like what you see, please hit that subscribe button along with that notification bell as well. It'll let you know whenever I go live do another review. I got reviews planned for all weekend for you guys, so keep an eye out for those. But let's see, if you're a fan of social media and you're a craft beer fan, big recommendation to get yourself over to Untapped. I'm talking to you specifically, Mr. Grim Green, when it comes to all the beers you do on the vlog. You need to get yourself over to Untapped. Do what Bogan does whenever he does something with his beer things on his YouTube. Do a check-in on there. Promote your Untapped page while you're doing your kind of beer tastings on your vlog, and I think you'll get a lot of people kind of having good response from that. And plus, Untapped is just a really, really fun platform, easy to use. They have so many different like coupon codes and promotional codes for everything craft beer when it comes to delivery services, getting your own kegerator, different little there's so many different services Untapped promotes and just kind of lets their kind of program on their app just have something for everybody pretty much. So if you're not on there yet, please do so. And if you haven't added me yet on there, link to my profile is down in the description below. And if you want to possibly see anything show up from River North in your area, of course, you can always go to your local liquor store or bottle shop and ask them if they can get anything from River North distributed to them. Or you can possibly go over to Tavour, and if you're in a more of a suburban area, you may have the opportunity to get stuff delivered to you. It's a fantastic service. They're based out of Washington State. You get to order beer if you want, like build your own box kind of situation, or you can go onto the app and they send you random beers that fit kind of flavor profiles that you choose on their app per month, and it's just a really, really fun program over there. Tavour is doing a lot of great things, and the availability for them is starting to go up a lot more. I've seen them start ship to a couple more states that normally they wouldn't go to. It's just because they take advantage of small courier services and all that, so they are trying to find more courier service that may go into more rural areas and stuff, all that. But when it comes to if you're in a suburban area, you may have a good opportunity on getting your hands on stuff from Tavour. So if you want to get like a referral code from me, hit me up in my DMs. I can send you a referral link to where you set up an account with Tavour. You'll get a free $10 worth of beer to spend and it would give me a free $10 of beer to spend so I can grab something and do more reviews on stuff. So it's a win-win for both of us. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing. And I'm going to end this like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.